All right, mid-season review IPL 2025. Lots to unpack. It's been a great season so far. Lots of close games, nail biters. We've had a super over already. But we're going to start with the standings. The standings that, I don't know, some of these teams that are sitting up top, I don't think we expected. What do you say, Ishaan?
Oh my gosh, the table is unrecognizable. At least when you compare to my top four that I initially had done a few weeks ago. But that is what the IPL is: full of surprises, full of combinations that you didn't think worked, and you have 14-year-olds hitting sixes off the first ball. So a lot going on with the IPL, and I absolutely love it. And the standings show you that it is T20 cricket and the IPL, unpredictable, and if it's your day, it's your day.
Best league in the world, baby. Best league in the world. And don't tell that to PSL, who are busy handing out hair dryers. Sorry for the drive-by.
The first 2 minutes, love it.
Awesome. So let's go into that table. So top four, we got Gujarat Titans, DC, almost called them Deccan Chargers, but talk about Delhi Capitals here. And we got RCB at the top, Royal Challengers Bangalore, and the Punjab Kings. How are we feeling about that top four?
Interesting top four. You don't see, I would say, the names that you would initially think of. No Mumbai, no Chennai. But then again, you look at those four and you see their performances the last 8, 7 games, and deservingly so. Gujarat's batting, especially the top three, top four players, incredible. Punjab, I would say, from a holistic perspective, the team is playing really well under the leadership of Iyer. And then, King Kohli trying to get his first IPL. Will this be the year? I don't know, but they look good. They look good in DC.
Season 18 for number 18.
Man, you could not script it any better, right? If that happens, oh god, you'll see 18 everywhere. And then, you got Dilly as well. And, if you're gonna spend the big bucks on Mitchell Stark, he'll perform like he deserves the big bucks. And we've seen that in the last few games. Incredible games, and I think the top four, deservedly so, should be and are in the top.
Yeah, and let's talk about Delhi Capitals out of that top four, since you sparked a memory of the game. I think it was Stark. I forget who the opposition was. Like we said, these games come thick and fast. It's hard to remember it all. But it was a recent game where Stark was defending 9 off the last over, and he absolutely nailed his bowling, his Yorkers. And oh yeah, it was the tie game.
Rajasthan Royals.
It was against Rajasthan Royals, who we'll get to as well. They've been playing interesting lately. But yeah, it was the super over game. Stark was defending 9 of the last over, and he nailed those Yorkers. Like, that is Stark of the past, and like you said, that's what you pay the big bucks for. Great performance, and Delhi overall, like, they've been fighting in every game. Like, they are one of the only teams. Again, as far as I remember of all the matches that I've watched, they haven't gotten full out and out blown away. Every game's been quite challenging for the most part.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. And I think it's a testament to one, Akshar Patel's captaincy. He's
Mr.
done
No
really
English.
well. Mr. No English. So I don't know how the hell he speaks to Mitchell Stark. Maybe KL Rahul is the interpreter. Sorry, but no, he's doing really well, and his personality as well, I think, is suited for captaincy, because I think he's a little bit on the calm end as well. He's a little bit cooler, not too hot headed. And then, as I mentioned earlier, KL Rahul, unreal player. He's also, again, arguably could have been captain for Delhi as well, but he opted to focus on his batting. And I know he took some time off for the birth of his child, but he's right back in the mix. And I think in his last game at Bangalore, I think he scored an unbeaten 90 plus. Literally stuck his bat into the surface,
Yeah,
saying that this is my ground. So
yeah.
I think, yeah, as we talk about Delhi, I think they've had players step up at the right times, and they have a few players that could do that, and we've seen that, right? You had, I think it was Ashutosh Sharma who scored that game-winning knock a few games, I think, in the first half of the IPL. That was game one, right? So you have a variety of players stepping up when required, and it's worked for them. I think, what, 12 points, only 2 losses, great net run rate.
They're
So
at 10. They're at 10, yeah.
sorry, 10
They're at
points.
10,
Yeah, yeah.
but they played only 7 so far as of this recording.
Oh, they got a game in hand. Yeah.
Yeah. They've been doing really, really well to transition into the other teams in the top four. Like GT, they are sitting at the top right now. They had a bit of a slow start. Looking at their record, they lost the first game. Actually, not that slow. It was just the first game that they lost. They won 4 in a row after, and they look like a powerhouse team. But when you look at that team, sometimes I'm surprised by how the batting's able to put up these scores, and then you realize it's just the top three. It's literally just the top three.
I know. I know. Let's just focus on the batting right now. I guess Joss Butler is acting like this is his prime. Incredible batting. It's him of old. And you got Sai Sudarshan as well, orange cap holder, and Shuman Gill. So again, very, very explosive players, and they're playing really well.
Yeah, yeah. But it begs the question if or what was going to happen if the top three get blown away, let's say in the power play or in the first 10 overs. What are they going to do after? Because that middle order looks pretty fragile. I mean, you have Sherfin Rutherford in there, but he's not known to come in the fifth over and put together an innings together. Like, he's your finisher, right? He comes
He's your
maybe after the
explosive player, yeah.
12th over, finish off an innings, give you a quick 30, 40, 50 if you need it, right? And then Tavatia is the same. Like, I don't see him playing a longer innings. So who is that other batsman? They played Shah Rukh Khan today. I think there was a couple others that they played at that position. I think Abhinav Manohar has played as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. But these are lesser known commodities, if you will, right? They're not proven players, and they don't really have that proven middle order batter like they did in the past, like a David Miller or Hardik Pandya used to come in the middle order. I don't see that. So I feel like there's a lot of dependency on their top three.
Fair enough. A little top heavy on their batting. No, I see that as well. And I believe Rutherford had a few innings as well. But to your point, explosive player. He'll get you that quick 32 off maybe 14 balls, but he won't get you that 60 that you sometimes need to get over the line. And to your point, we all know that Rashid Khan could bat, but is he reliable and has he been exposed yet? Not really, right? So I think you raised a good point. Interesting, definitely on the batting front for Gujarat. What do you think about the bowling front? Because you have literally Ishant Sharma bowling the 20th over. Like, what's going on? And Rashid Khan's not bowling well at all. So what's really going on?
Yeah, I think maybe we're seeing a tide turning with Rashid Khan. In today's game, we happen to be recording on the day where Gujarat played, and he did really well against KKR. So maybe we see tide turning there. But yeah, it's interesting. Their bowling options. They have a lot of options. I feel like they are missing a bona fide all rounder. And I just looked at their squad, and Glenn Phillips is withdrawn from the team. And if I remember, I think he got picked in one of the games, and he injured himself. I think he injured himself, and that's probably why he's missing. If we're right about the injury, if you can let us know in the comment what the injury is, that'd be great. But I remember now; it just gave me a flashback of one of the games that I had in the background, and he got injured. Maybe it's that's the reason why he's not there. Because I was wondering, like, someone's missing from this. That's why I looked at the squad and looking at the rest of the players here in terms of options, all rounder options. Washington Sundar is someone that I think they will have to rely on. Also from a batting perspective, and again, I'm having flashbacks of a couple games that he played where he actually did well batting in the top four, right? So I think they'll have to rely on these players. Dustin Shanaka from Sri Lanka is in the squad, and I haven't seen him play a game, so maybe we see him in the lineup at some point.
Yeah, no, and to your point, that depth is always being questioned for Gujarat. But I think one thing that I think sort of speaks to why they're number one, they currently have both the current purple cap holder in Prashant Krishna and the orange cap holder in Sai Sudarshan. So from an individual match-winning player perspective, if they have one bowler who's getting wickets, I think he's at 16 wickets, and then you have Sai Sudarshan number one in runs. That goes to show you that you have those individuals who are making those match-winning efforts. So again, to your point, how long does it last? And second, if they don't perform in 1-2 games, which we've seen all the time happen in T20, who is there to pick up the slack? Which I think is yet to be answered for Gujarat.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super interesting because, again, I didn't think we would be spending this much time talking about Gujarat, but I just saw their playing 11 for today. They've only played 2 overseas stars. They played Joss Butler and Rashid Khan. The rest are all Indian players today. So that's super interesting. So we rarely see that. And Kagiso Rabada is in your squad, by the way.
Yeah. But then again, I know initially wasn't bowling the best first few games.
Fair enough, fair enough. But that's super. Like I've seen teams play three foreign stars, but rarely just two. But yeah, that's interesting. All
But
right,
hey,
awesome.
hey, hey, we also one last thing. We know Ashish Nehra. That guy's like a fun of a
I think it's
personality.
a clown.
I'm using no. I use my words carefully. He's a personality, and so you know that if he thinks this will work, he'll likely go that way. And hey, it's working so far.
Yeah, all right. Enough about Gujarat. The other two in that top four are RCB. Yeah, let's talk about RCB. So RCB, like you said, Kohli's been doing great with the batting. Phil Salt has been amazing.
Yes, yeah,
Them. I think he's given them some solid starts. And someone talked about when it comes to partnership, that's what makes Kohli such a great player because he knows how to bat in partnerships. And when you think about batting partnerships, Kohli usually always is able to play second fiddle when he realizes that the other batter is in form or is
yes,
really hitting the ball well, right?
yep.
But that is what enables you to have 70, 80, 90, 100 run partnerships because it's not always both sides going at it like sometimes we see with SRH, but we also see with SRH the flip side to that where
Yes,
both sides going hard and they both get out right away. But with what we see really well with RCB is that opening combination has been able to do really well for them. And a surprise performances from Devdutt Padikkal. Again,
hmm
no big innings, but he's been able to consistently score runs in almost every game that he's played.
yeah. No, I think first of all, just to allude, sorry to go back to the point about Kohli, he offers that stability, which is what you really sometimes need in T20 cricket, right? So, and then to your point, David Padikkal, whenever he's been called, at least in the last 2-3 games, played extremely well, quick innings as well. And then also, let's not forget the captain, Rajat Patidar.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say.
You
Yeah.
know, he's also been playing extremely well, and not just on the batting front. And obviously, we talk about Maxwell not being the best right now. Livingston also performing a little bit under par. So maybe if these players come back in, sorry, not Maxwell. Maxwell's in Punjab. My fault. With Livingston, he's still, like I say, performing a little under par. But then again, we always seem to forget Tim David.
I was just gonna
He's
say.
yeah.
I was
I think
just
he's been a
gonna
great pick. He's been a great pick. What were your thoughts on Tim David so far?
Tim David is the modern day Kyron Pollard.
Yes. Yep.
Like he
That's great.
you can never count the game done unless he's out. And he just has this God given ability to strike the ball big from ball one. And he does it consistently. And it's a rare skill to have, and I can see why teams all over the world want him in their starting 11. He is key in that finisher role 6, 7, 8, which is usually where you used to see Kyron Pollard play. And he was groomed under him for a while. He played for Mumbai, right, and then he surprisingly got let go. But I don't think Mumbai had too many chances. I don't think Mumbai had too many choices in terms of who they could. They're obviously keeping the core that they kept. So they had
Yeah.
to get rid of someone. They got rid of Tim David. RCB's picked him up, and he's been a great pick so far.
Yeah. No, I think any praises for Tim David right now is a little bit less because he's been extremely in form for RCB. Now, quickly on the bowlers, because
Yeah.
I
Yes.
know we talked a little bit of
Got a lot
ish
of trash. A lot of
about
trash.
the so they just gonna throw some names out there. Boovy, Hazelwood, Krunal Pandya. Am I
Yes,
missing
they
anyone?
are. Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. I'm still laughing, right? So you walk into a T20 game with those bowlers, and
Yeah.
they've been playing well. What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, Yash Dad got hit for 5 6s just a season ago. I think it was a
Yeah,
season ago.
yeah,
And he's clearly forgotten all about that incident, and he's been doing really well. Josh Hazelwood has been consistently performing every single game. Bhuvneshwar Kumar is doing movie things, getting a couple wickets here and there, holding tight lines, lengths, and then Krunal Pandya has been the surprise for me. He's been their like go-to spinner, and he's been really good. Reminds me of the Krunal Pandya when Krunal and Hardik were at their prime for MI. That like he's bowling really well, length and line, and that was the time when Krunal made it to the India squad too, and
yeah.
he's on that same level of how he's playing, at least with the ball. Hasn't got too much opportunity with the bat, but That's where they need him right now because that was one weak link that we identified with their spinning department. They have been playing Suyash, I believe his last
Sharma.
name is Sharma, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Suyash Sarma, but he's been a secondary pick for them
Second
depending on
fiddle for
the
sure.
pitch, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And so when you have again, when it's working for you, where you have Boovie and Hazelwood in those death overs being accurate, suppressing those runs, and then you're able to have before that Kunal Pandya take those wickets in the middle overs, it offers a deadly bowling partnership, which has not knock on wood been working for them. So RCB's search for the first title in 18 years is still very
Looking
much
good.
on.
Yeah, yeah, it's looking good for sure. And let's see how far they can go. They always show promise, but let's see how the last half of the tournament goes. All right, moving on to Punjab Kings. I think we're both happy to see them here. They're both part. I mean, Punjab was part of our picks in the top four. They're just about made it, but they've been looking good this season, led by Mr. Captain himself, Kapitan Shreyas Iyer.
Yeah, no, I think Iyer has been a great choice for them, and I think the way that Iyer and Ponting think, is somewhat alike because you've seen them sort of in those Seat timeouts talking, and it seems like they're on the same page. Throw in the plug there, Seat. Give me some money.
We are not
But no,
sponsored by Seattle Tire. We will take the sponsorship.
no, but even from like if you start from their batting, you have Prabh Simran Singh, exceptional. I think he's been a rock for them batting. And you have Arya, sort of newer player, but again very explosive. Then comes Iyer and Inglis, who have been able to sort of hold it down as well. So I think from a batting perspective, they're pretty solid right now, Punjab.
Yeah, yeah, their top order is looking nice. You know, you mentioned Priyansh Arya. You can't forget that century. That was an amazing century
Yeah,
against Chennai as well, in front of Mr. Number Seven himself. You know, he did really well in that game, and he looks the part. Other potential superstar in the making for Team India. Who knows? But
yeah,
they seem to have plenty of those. Yeah, the top four is looking solid. They did drop Maxwell and Stoinis. They first dropped Stoinis, which I thought was surprising, because just the game before that, he made, I think it was a 10 ball 34. He took
yeah. Quick
Shami to the
34.
cleaners. Took Shami to the cleaners in that game. I won't forget that hitting. It was clean hitting,
Yeah.
and that's what you like to see from Stoinis. So I was surprised to not see him play the next game, but maybe Punjab is now going to rotate between him and Maxwell because then we saw Maxwell get dropped for Stoinis in the game after that, and Maxwell doing Maxwell things. Like I feel for him. Like when he does well, he does well, but when he doesn't, he does absolutely nothing.
And see, that's the thing, right? Where you see the benefit where it's like, okay, he's not wasting 6 balls because he gets out in the second ball. But then you see, it is so characteristic of him because we've seen this throughout the years where
Yeah,
he'll have that one knock in the IPL, like that, like quick 100, but then he'll have like, one score, two scores, all single digits for the rest of the year. So is PSL next for him next season? I don't know, but he has to
oh,
really step it up.
shots fired. Yeah, but it's so funny because Punjab and RCB literally swapped Livingston for Maxwell, and they got the same player. They got the
You got the
exact
same.
same.
They could bowl the odd spinning over, get the odd wicket, but that's it.
The only difference is you got Livingston that can bowl off spin and leg spin. But other than that, with the batting, you're getting the same thing. They either last 5 balls or the last 50 balls and win you a game. So that's what you get with those players. But that's where I think they're a little shaky, Punjab,
Yeah.
with that lower middle order.
Yep.
Surprise performer for me from their team so far, Nehal Vidara.
Yes,
Wadera.
yes.
Nehal
Former
Wadera.
Mumbai Indian, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Another Punjabi too. Another
Yeah.
Punjabi too. Lots of Punjabis doing well lately in the IPL as well.
Yep.
So yeah, it's nice to see him. He looks like a player as well in that middle lower order. Can hit the big runs and can accumulate runs as well. Has shown a good range of shots for sure.
Yeah, and I guess very quickly on Punjab's bowling. So you have obviously Yuzi Chahal, Arshdeep Singh, so two big Indian names throughout the years. But also you have Marco Jansen and Bartlett as well, who've been bowling. I would say at least Marco Jansen a little bit better than Bartlett, but Solid bowlers. So, what were your thoughts on sort of the bowling attack for Punjab?
Yeah, all in all, solid. UZ Charles been amazing in the
He
last few
has, yeah.
games, especially that game against KKR. How can we forget about that game? That was a standout game for me for them,
Yep.
where literally they defended the lowest score in IPL history, 111 runs, I believe it was.
111, all out for 95 then.
Yeah, I remember seeing KKR at, I think they were chasing it. The score was like 63 for two or
Yep.
68 for two, and I
It was
thought,
low 60s for two.
yeah, I thought, oh, you know what, this is gonna be a walk in the park. Maybe they'll lose a couple wickets here, and it's done. Next thing you know, they're 90 something all out, and
Unreal.
that's thanks to Yuzi Chahal. Again, turn back the clock. It was the Yuzi Chahal of old, and he seems to be getting into his thing now. And I think the part of their bowling that was that they're still looking for is that third seamer option, which I believe was bowled by Lockie Ferguson. Was it Lockie Ferguson that was in the lineup prior to Bartlett? But now they've got in Bartlett in the team. I'm just trying to pull it up here. Um, but yeah, that's the 2-3 spots that they probably need to lock
Hmm.
down. But Ricky Ponting did say at the start of the season that they have both bases covered, as in they have backups for different options, and we're
Hmm.
seeing that at play because you know they dropped Maxwell, they dropped Stoinis, they brought in Joss English, and then they dropped Maxwell, they brought in Stoinis, so they're able to rotate between those players, and they're not really losing their overall team composition. They
You're
still
right.
have a good number of batters, a good number of bowling options. So that is a well compiled team or squad, you can say.
Yeah, and to your point as well, I think the roles are pretty clear within the team. There's no sort of overlap. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do. So I think that works well with the sort of Ponting sort of leadership under Ayer's captaincy. So no, I think Punjab's in a great position. And I know we talked about this for RCB. Could this also be Punjab's year for their first championship? I think it'll be interesting. Maybe it's RCB Punjab final.
I mean, I have no choice because I said Punjab's going all the way in our
You
preview show.
did, you did. Yeah.
So let's see. I mean, they're holding up pretty well right now. Let's see how they go for the second half.
Yeah.
All right, so let's step outside the top four. Let's get into the middle and the bottom of the table here. And I think we want to start with the bottom of the table because both of us called these two teams to be in our top four, and they're definitely not in our top four, and they are looking like they may not even get to the top six right now, the way they're playing. We're talking about Sunrisers Hyderabad and the Chennai Super Kings. How do you feel about these two teams right now?
Yeah, I guess quickly starting off with Sunrisers Hyderabad. I think this is where I would say the most of the disappointment is, at least for my predictions, because of all the hype that was created before the IPL started. With their attacking team, the inclusion of Ishan Kishan, him scoring a century, and you're like, oh gosh, are they going to break 300? Right? Like, will this be the
Almost in
team
the
that
first game. Yeah.
almost in the first game, right? But then just seems like what people call the balance or a tempered approach maybe just isn't there for them because if you're trying to go, 200 strike rate every single time, bowlers are able to figure that out, right? You're willing to take that risk. Captains are smart these days. So very, very disappointing from an SRH perspective. And then for a CSK perspective, I think there's one of those teams where you kind of always, every time in every IPL, just have to put them there in the top four just because of how they've historically played. But obviously, with sort of Dhoni's declining form and then injuries that they've sustained, as well as I would say not the best performances from their respective players, it was just sort of a recipe for disaster. And then unfortunately, with people talk about the aging team and Dhoni taking a spot, it's just not a good look for a CSK. And so I think it's just a perfect storm for them right now to sort of not be the best that they could be.
Yeah. So carrying on with CSK there, definitely injuries are not helping. I mean, Ruturaj got injured. Now everyone's happy. Dhoni's captain, and he's doing really well. He's performing amazingly well. But I feel like they missed the trick with the composition of their squad. I think they stuck to the same template that quite frankly has worked for them. But they're working with aging stars now. Jadeja, Ashwin, not the same players that they used to be. And I think the youth that they have, I mean, they could still do well. They've tried some young stars right now. I think his last name's Rashid. I don't know what his first name is. He's opening the batting right now. They
Oh yeah,
dropped Comte.
instead of also Rachin Rabindra, younger guy, but
Yeah, yeah, and they got a new number three in. I think his name's Metra.
yeah, Metra, yeah.
Last name Metra, right? So new that I don't even know their full name, right? They haven't made an impression yet, but they seem to be diamonds in the rough that they generally are good at unearthing. And so maybe this is the season where they may not reach the playoffs, but at least they can figure out what that long term squad's going to look like in terms of unearthing some younger Indian talent, which I think they're missing. Like Vijay Shankar is not it. Rahul Tripathi is not it. As TGC says, no one scores runs in that helmet.
My gosh, I
Other than
love
Dinesh
that.
Karthik and Kumar Sangakkara, no one
No one
else scores
else could,
runs in that helmet.
that halo looking helmet.
But yeah, the Indian quote unquote experienced talent that they have from a batting perspective, I don't think is it.
I
Shivam
know.
Dubey is obviously good to invest in. I think
Yeah, definitely silver lining for that team.
yeah, he's having a hot and cold season, but
Yeah,
he's still a really good player to keep in the squad.
yeah.
But they need someone else in there that is reliable. I think that's where they're struggling. That top order is not able to put on scores together. We saw Rachin Ravindra score a couple good innings, but
He's still
he's not
struggling a
getting.
little bit.
Yeah. Also hot and cold, and that's been them. It's been hot and cold from them for most of the season so far. And who knows? Maybe we see a turn in the tide. Maybe they give some other teams some trouble and just create some havoc with the table. There's still a chance. I mean, you have teams, 5 teams on 10 and above, so there's always a chance. Still, you never know with the IPL.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Jadeja could just turn up with some great spinning, or maybe even Dhoni himself, bring us back to the age old Dhoni that we all used to seeing. As of right now, really, I think even Conway, maybe I think is Conway injured because I know he retired out in one of the
No, I think they
games.
just dropped him. I'm
Okay,
pretty sure they just dropped him.
because
Yeah,
when he scored the 60 odd, I think it was maybe against RCB, he retired out. But yeah,
yeah.
to your point though, just a perfect storm, and unfortunately, even from the bowling department as well, I think apart from Noor Ahmed, Patriana and then Ashwin, sort of hot and cold as you mentioned, right?
What happened to Sam Curran?
I don't think he was selected. I don't think they opted to take him.
They played him in the first few games, and I thought that he would have a big impact in the season. And they seem to be preferring Jamie Overton now over him. And
Yeah.
then also, you're right about Matisha Patirana. He's been out of form. And again, I'm just surprised. Like, you have Nathan Ellis in the squad. Maybe they
Yes.
prefer Patirana, but Nathan Ellis did well in this first, I think it was the first game or second game that he played. And he did pretty well. So, yeah, some questions for them to answer. And the only one that has really been consistently performing has been Dhoni and Noor Ahmed. Noor Ahmed's been consistently performing for them as well. So, and Khalil Ahmed as well. Khalil Ahmed's
Yeah.
been doing really well at the top, taking wickets. But yeah,
Quick point on their batting. They recently got David Brevis. What are your thoughts on that?
wait, seriously?
Yeah, they got him about 2 days ago.
Oh, no way, no way.
Yeah.
In place of who?
In place of Gurjadhan Preet Singh.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
I believe so. But long story short, they've got Brevis now.
okay. So that's interesting, and what that tells me from that pick is that they needed firepower, and that's what they went after. Because that's what's missing from their batting. They have no firepower,
Yeah.
and to rely on a 43-year-old man right now to score your runs to get you some firepower, I don't think that's it.
That's senior abuse. That's
Yeah,
senior abuse.
yeah. So it's good to see him. Good to see him. I thought he was with MI still, but that's good to see him in the yellow colors there. But yeah, let's see what Chennai dish out for the rest of the season. Cool. So going back to Hyderabad. Yeah, I don't know if their recipe of playing the equivalent of basketball really. Let's
Yeah,
be honest.
essentially it.
Playing basketball is essentially right, and I don't know if that's the right recipe for them. I think there's still place in this game with no matter how good batters are able to clear the fences, I think there's still a place for that role of playing second fiddle in a partnership,
Yeah.
right? Like it doesn't mean that you take up balls and you don't, keep up with the rate, but you don't have to go haywire when someone else is doing it. Well, like batting is not easy because you make one mistake and that's it. It's game over for you, right?
Yeah.
And so to play in a manner where you're going after every single ball from number 1 to 11, I don't think that's a sustainable way of batting and putting a score together. And we're seeing that in front of our eyes. Like they're trying to go for 200 plus every single game by the looks of it. And they seem to be okay with falling short, but this falling short is happening way too often that now they find themselves at the bottom of the table. And I feel it's too late for them to turn it around.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that. In comparison to sort of the expectations that they had, it's obviously been a failure of a season. And then this comes back to the point of, if this is a failure of their season currently, how are they going to look next season? Because they can't sort of then keep the template going, because they tried the same template last year, didn't win it for sure. Fair enough. This was a year that I think they really put all their eggs in one basket, with the inclusion of Ishan Kishan. I think they were expecting for sure to reach the finals this year with all the hype and the players that they've gotten. Not met a sort of that expectation. So now, if this template, to your point, if this template does not work, how do we move on from here? So I think, yeah, very, very interesting times ahead. I think mathematically, I think they're still in top four. I think everyone is still in top four mathematically, but it is. I think definitely, if they do make the top four, it'll be a very, very interesting next few games.
Yeah, it'll be super interesting, and I think that they don't have a choice. Like they've built this squad around going hammer and tongs all innings long, and I think they just got to stick to it. And what I'm surprised with them is their bowling. I did not expect their bowling to get hammered that the way they are, and I feel Mohammad Shami is completely out of form in this IPL for some reason. Ishan Malinga is not it. Pat seems to be delivering the goods, but not as consistently as we're used to seeing him do
Yeah.
it, and not at the key moments that they need him to. Which again, we see him do for Australia. We see him do with Sunrisers in the past too. And then in the spinning department, yeah, it looks like Adam Zampa is withdrawn, so that explains why he hasn't been bowling, and that they seem to be struggling there because Zishan Ansari is just how do I say, inexperienced. He's just inexperienced, right? He just needs more games under his belt, just from the looks of it. Too many bad balls,
Yeah.
in my opinion, right? And then Rahul Chahar, again, I don't know. He's had so much promise, but he's just not been able to be that number one spinner in a squad. Like he played for MI dropped him. I think Punjab had him for a while. Punjab dropped
Punjab
him.
had him. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So he's not able to lock a spot. He even played for India, but
Yes.
he's
Yes.
fallen in that pecking order too, right? So I wonder why. He definitely has quality, but maybe it's just that consistency again that is missing from his game.
Yeah, and I think you raised a good point on the spinning department. You can only go as far as, for example, as you mentioned, utilizing, unfortunately, not the best spinners, I would say, in the circuit right now. And then on top of that, you add sort of potentially your part-time spinners like Abhishek Sharma. I think it could work in some games, but you can't be reliant on sort of, again, your part-time spinners for the IPL, right? So again, to your point, I think that's a big deficiency for their team in addition to their batting. But um, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Pat Cummins has to take the blame because they gave him the big bucks as captain, but he hasn't really produced the goods.
Solar panel Pat, as our
Solar
friends from
panel fan.
PGC say. All right, so let's go move up the ranks here. Go to
Yeah,
number 8. So Rajasthan Royals sitting at number 8 right now. 8 games, 6 losses. They're tied with SRH, CSK. SRH does have a game in the bag, so they could climb up. But RR pretty much is at the bottom of the table, and they've had a interesting last few games where they've literally lost games that they should have won, and
yes,
that's the problem.
and I was just about to say that because I guess from the surface you're like, oh, terrible season, but they've had a few games where if a ball was left or right or someone just hit it properly, they could have had a few more points and been up the table. So a lot of close matches that they unfortunately lost, and obviously the freshest of mind is the one that happened over the weekend, where it did
Yeah,
look like they were really, going
against
to chase
Lucknow.
a score.
Yeah.
But then I believe it was Lucknow. Lucknow was able to sort of,
Yeah, yeah. LSG. Yeah.
stop them in their tracks, and especially in the last over. So
Yeah.
again, disappointing there, but you've had some, I would say some silver linings. You've had a Jaiswal playing extremely well. I think he's had a few 50 plus scores. And then you also had the inclusion of who's this person? What's his name again?
We like to call him Baby Bob.
Baby Bob. That's the name.
14-year-old, not you can't even call him. You can't even call him a man. He's literally a little boy playing in the big leagues and looking the part.
You know what? You want to walk me through the first ball that you witnessed
I
with
couldn't
him?
believe my eyes when I saw the first ball. Like the audacity to hit your first ball in professional cricket as a 14-year-old against a former or current, however you want to look at it, India player, Team India player,
Test player, yeah.
test test match player,
Yeah.
and you just honk him for six like you've been playing
Overcovers.
since.
Overcovers.
Yeah, over covers too. One of the hardest shots in the game, and you do it like you've been playing since you were born. Like it's insane, insane.
Literally what dreams are made of, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was amazing to see.
So yeah, again, so some silver linings there, but unfortunately, Rian Parag, I would say, he's playing okay, but maybe not to the level that I think he expects of himself as well. I think I think a lot of the discourse around him is he's that game changer. Hasn't really been that level. For example, if we talk about the last game, he had the opportunity, he
Could
was
have
in it,
finished that.
he could have finished that game. Unfortunately, he didn't, right? And then to your point, as you mentioned earlier, Drew Jarrell, maybe with the amount of balls he has playing, just playing style, unable to be that explosive part yet. And then Hitmeyer, hot and cold. That's how I would describe him so far. So
Yeah,
just not the best from, at least from a batting perspective right now, apart from the small silver linings that I mentioned earlier.
yeah, yeah. Riyan Parag has been good in terms of he's been consistently scoring runs, but he hasn't made those big scores that he did in the last season, where I think he had like 4 or 5 50s on a row, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wonder how much that has to do with the flip floppiness with the Rajasthan middle order
Hmm.
in terms of the batting lineup and where people are batting. I think Nitin Rana should be one down and keep Riyan Parag at four. But who knows? Rahul Dravid obviously knows better, and the coaching staff seems to know better. But it doesn't seem to be working for them right now because they're not able to get a big score from their top four consistently enough. And there's something about those pressure situations that they need work on because like is it lack of inexperience, is it lack of having that older statesman in the group? I mean,
Hmm.
you're
Good
looking at
point.
this team and the average age is on the lower side. It is on the lower side. I think your oldest guy, if I'm looking here, is probably Tikshana, if
Or
I were to
Sandeep
take a
Sharma.
wild guess. Or
Or Sandeep
Sandeep
Sharma.
Sharma. And
The
you're not
OG.
looking at those guys. You're not looking at those guys for leadership, at least from what we see on the outside,
Yeah.
right? So, um,
Also, just to take a step back, on that last game with Lucknow, why
yeah,
did Sandeep Sharma bowl the super over when you had a World Cup winning super over player,
yeah,
Archer, in the squad? So again, to your point on the batting order and in my point, sort of the bowling order right now, it's just not aligning to sort of what we expect. So, is there other things going on? Is the management not thinking right? I don't know, but it's a lot of, I would say, decisions made that are questioned.
yeah. I'm also not a fan of their strategy of having two international spinners.
Good
Maybe that's
point.
because
Good
yeah,
point. Good point. Yeah.
maybe that's because they don't have a bona fide or a proven Indian spinner. I mean, Kumar Kartikeya is fairly young and he's again an unproven commodity, if you will.
Yeah.
But I just don't like having two international spinners. And Hasaranga is not an all rounder. All you Sri Lankans can come at me, but he's not an all rounder. I'm not trusting him with the bat at all. So you're taking two international spots with two spinners, which I don't think is the way to go. And that means you're leaving out someone like but yeah, see, sorry. So that's the other thing, right? They don't have a lot of international
They
options,
don't. They don't.
which just goes back to how they compose the squad. I don't
Yeah.
understand how you pick one out and out international batter. Like literally, I'm looking at the squad right now, and they just have Shimron Hetmeyer in there,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
which makes no sense to me. No
yeah.
sense to me at all. Like,
And
so
they
if he's
and they
not
could have
functioning,
retained Josh Butler, and they could have retained Josh Butler.
you could have retained Josh Butler. They literally have five overseas stars, out of which four are bowlers,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
one is an unproven bowler, Quina Mafaka. Maybe he should get it. Maybe they need to give him a game because he can hit 150 as well. Imagine him and Jofra Archer opening the bowling.
I know. But then you have to get rid of one of your spinners.
Yeah, that's the thing. So they have something to work on. Maybe in off season. I don't think the season is going anywhere for them.
Same.
I think they got to make some decisions in the off season in terms of how they want to compose your squad going forward. But you are literally telling Shimron Hetmeyer that if you don't perform, it's okay. We don't have any options, so you're going to continue playing. I don't think that's a good. I don't think that's a good thing. And he's done okay, but he's not done. He's not done enough to win them games. Like that last game, he should have been able to finish the game. That's why he's there
Yeah.
in the squad.
Literally that, right? If you are selected as sort of the prime batsman, you got to finish it off, right? So no, I agree with you on that one. KKR right now number 7 with 6 points, right? A new captain, new coach. Thoughts on KKR?
Yeah, they had a hot and cold start. They won.
Yeah,
They were what out of the first four games, they won two, lost two. This kind of been their season so far. Win one, lose one, win one, lose one, and now they're in a bit of a small losing streak. They lost two in a row. Again, I think they're going as per how we discussed their season would
yeah,
go so far, where they I think chose the wrong stars to retain. They're on the other side of their career.
prime.
Andre Russell, yeah, off their prime. Like Andre Russell hasn't done much to talk about. He looked again. I sometimes it just boggles my mind when I see him play against spin, and he
He
just
looks
looks like
lost.
a. And then in between all that, he hits these massive sixes, but you're like, but wait, like as soon as you have a good spinner to play against, like you're all at sea. And he's always been like that, and that's been the matchup against Russell. If you're the opposition
Yeah,
team, you just need a good leg spinner, has a decent wrong one, and you're going to get him out at some point. And we saw that with he's playing against Rashid Khan. That was watching. You're literally watching him play, and you're expecting him to get up.
yeah. It's not a question of if; it's a question of when, right? So no, I completely agree with you on that front. And then, you have the opening pair of Gurbaz and Narayan, who,
Which,
again, hot and cold, but not together. Not together.
yeah, and again, the opening pair, they've been trying different
Yeah.
people at the top, right? And now they tried Gurbaz. I think it was his first game of the season, which again is surprising to me because correct me if I'm wrong, but it was him and Salt at the top last season
Yes, yes,
that
yes,
helped them
yes.
win the chip, and now he doesn't even find himself in the 11 until this game, right? So again, talk about composition of their squad, composition of their 11. They also have a lot to think about. The silver lining for me so far has been Ajinkya Rahane. Like he's
Yes,
batting really well. He's again went above his expectations. Like he's
he
again
did.
on the other side of his prime, but he's still able to score, and he's been captaining pretty well with the squad that he has. And then the young guy, Angrish Raghuvanshi, he's been pretty good too.
Yeah, yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that one. I would say going back to your earlier discussion about sort of those key players that they really banked on, that are sort of not progressing as I would say as they wanted to. For example, Rinku Singh, you mentioned Andre Russell, and then obviously Ramandeep Singh as well. All great talents, and all talents who are explosive, right? These are players who make quick runs, but unfortunately, just not been able to do that at least collectively within the first few 8 games. So to your point is you have the composition, you have the age as well. Unfortunately, it just hasn't been the best for them so far.
Yeah, I think they gotta try something different because they've also been playing Moeen Ali, and Moeen Ali, when he's gotten a chance, he has been playing well.
Yeah.
but maybe they gotta try. Maybe they gotta try Gurbaz and Lecoq at the top. You know,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
100%,
and
100%.
maybe move Narayan back down. He's had one good game at the top, but otherwise he hasn't really done much. And it was the game where KKR was expected to win, right? And so yeah, it's been a weird season from them so far. They did lose a game that they should have won, the one against
Yes.
Punjab, right?
Yep, yep, yep,
So
yep.
yeah, so it's going as expected. I don't think they're going to reach the playoffs. I think they're going to end up somewhere in the middle, maybe at the bottom, and they'll have some work to do in the offseason.
Yeah, no, no, I completely agree on that one. Mumbai, number 6. Amchi Mumbai. What's going on there? That's your team, Taran.
Yeah, my team, and they're doing okay. They're doing okay. They always seem to be slow starters, but they're putting some wins together. What are they looking like in the last? So the last 4 games or last 3 games, they've won all three. So like I
Yeah,
said, slow starters picking it up now, and I think the right players are hitting form at the right time. Sky is slowly getting back to the Sky of old. We're seeing those sixes, those flicks coming out clean. Rohit Sharma got some runs in the last
he
game, which
did.
is good to see finally. And Ryan Rickleton has been decently good at the top, one or two big scores, but he's not like getting out every single game early. He's able to score some sort of runs. And Tilak Verma has scored a couple of 50s already. Will Jacks has been surprisingly good, even with the ball. Hardik Pandya has been good as captain. Bowling's
Yes, yes,
good. He's took a fifer already. Batting hasn't gotten a chance to make a big innings, but he's had some impactful innings. I can
he
remember
has.
him come in one of the games and he made like 30 from like 8 balls or 10
Yep,
balls or something like
yep,
that,
yep.
right? Things are looking good. Namandir's been putting up some good cameos
Yes,
towards the end, right? Mitchell Sandner has been consistent with the ball, surprisingly again. Like his career path in the last 18 months has just taken off as a spinner. Like that game against in the test match against India that he won
yeah.
for New Zealand almost single-handedly. And now he's
And even
your
The Champions Trophy as
yeah,
well in Pakistan. He's playing very
champ,
well.
yeah, did very well as captain, and now he's your lead spinner in the IPL amongst
Yeah,
all the other stars. Like that's amazing
yeah,
in a team like Mumbai Indians too.
yeah. Pretty marquee team. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, and then Bumrah, Boom Boom's back. Last you know his addition to the team in the last few games has resulted in them performing better, and that's the Bumrah effect, right? And he seems to not be at his best yet, but he's slowly
Yes.
getting there. He did well in the last game against Chennai. I think he took a twofer
Two
and
wickets.
didn't,
He got
yeah,
Dhoni out.
yeah, didn't give away too many runs. Yeah, squad's coming together.
Yeah, and I think, I know we've discussed some of that, I would say, the mid-table teams. I think Mumbai, out of the teams we've currently discussed, has probably the biggest chance of, apart from Lucknow maybe, but the one of the bigger chances of moving up in the top four, just because one, history, as you mentioned, Mumbai always has slow starts, and they seem to pick it up right after. And with the talent on paper, Bolt, Bumrah, Satner, and I'm just like it's like four. Deepak Chahar as well with the ball, right? Then you have Rohit Sharma, Sky, Pandya. You have those players on paper that are like literally. If you pick any one of them, they're match winners, right? They have a good day, they can turn the tide in that match. So I think it's an interesting place for Mumbai because they definitely feel uncomfortable being mid-table, and they have momentum now to sort of make a push for top four.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the momentum's with them, and I think they're going to make a steady rise towards the top four for sure. Awesome. We got one team to talk about, Lucknow Super Giants. Okay, so they're at number 5. They're tied. There's 4 teams on 10 right now, so they could
I
easily be
know.
number 2,
Yeah.
but for net run rate. They are a team that seems to be again reliant on their top order.
Yes.
Markram's been doing well lately, and then Mitchell Marsh has had a phenomenal start. A
Yep.
couple of I think he missed a couple of games too, but he's been fairly consistent. And then Nicky P, he's probably again
Nicky
we've talked
P.
about it
Yep.
before, probably easily top 3 T20 batsman right now going in the world.
Unequivocally. Unequivocally.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and but again, they seem to be over reliant on that top 3. We saw a few games where the top 3 didn't do as well, and the middle orders are looking a little shaky. Starting with the skipper, Rishabh Pant, who hasn't had a big score to talk about. one score. I think it was against Chennai where he made a 60 odd, I believe it was, and that's about it. I haven't seen much from him since, or at
Yeah,
all.
no. Rishabh Pant has been very, very quiet, and I think as we alluded to in our other podcast about the India A contracts, there is pressure on Rishabh Pant in the T20 format. He's been given a lot of responsibility, and he had also been given responsibility in Delhi as well. So he's been giving full throttle the ability, but just hasn't been able to perform in at least the IPL for a little bit. So definitely pressure on him. But to your point, Lucknow has been able to get to fifth place at 10 points without Rishabh Pant, which is a feat in itself.
Yeah, and with a bowling lineup that when they started the season was with players that we never heard about in our life. And now they're starting to get some of their frontline bowlers back, and they're starting to come together again. I could see them in Mumbai slowly
Yeah,
creeping to the top, and it's showing. It's showing in their performances. And the surprise performer for me out of their squad has been Digwish Rati.
the bowler spinner,
The spinner, long hair,
Mr. Fine.
reminds me of Imran Tahir. He reminds me of Imran Tahir. He's got that the same aura, the same energy. Even his celebrations are like over the top.
Always, always.
He's been fun to watch. He's been fun to watch and seems to have good control over his bowling, and he's just like Tahir. He's that he long run up, flatter in the ball, doesn't really give the ball a lot of air, but he has a good wrong one, and some players are not able to pick it.
Yeah, no, and he's been sort of that bowler for them that's able to get those key wickets. No, but and to your point as well, some of the bowlers, Prince Yadav, we're not too quite familiar with him. I know Ravi Bishnoi again, hot and cold from his perspective as well. Avish Khan, surprisingly very well in my eyes. I know in recent memory, the last game against Rajasthan, unbelievable last over from him. And they have players as I would say, are stepping up. Right? As you mentioned, a couple of the top order batsmen and some of the bowlers, but as a cohesive unit is where we are yet to see them perform. But I think definitely with Mumbai also like right behind them, it's going to be a very, very interesting push to third and fourth position in the second half of the IPL.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be a fun watch the second half of the season. I'm super excited for it because very very rarely do you see four teams, you could say five teams on
Yep,
10 points, right? And so that not only does that make it exciting for the top six, but it opens it up for the entire like all the teams because you still can't write off Chennai or anyone at the bottom because
hundred
of the
percent.
fact that yeah, because of the fact that there aren't too many teams that haven't lost few games. Like Delhi and GT are sitting at two losses, but they could easily be at three or four. And that's when you start getting complete parity in the league, right?
Yes,
Because
yes,
it's only when you start having teams that have only lost one or two games for the entire season, as an example, that's when you see separation. But when you have the state of the league like it is right now, where there isn't a clear out and out standout team, right? Like if you look at your top four, like or even let's say all the top 10, right?
yeah,
I mean
yeah,
the entire 10 teams.
yeah.
Is there one team that stands out to you as like this is it? They're gonna go all the way. Like I know I said Punjab, but I said Punjab out of a hunch, right? I didn't
Yes,
see.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I said it right at the start. But if look at him right, like I'm not saying that they look like a team that's gonna win. Like I think any of these teams can easily turn the tide and win the chip.
Yeah, no, and I think for each team we also mentioned sort of key areas where they struggle, right? Like for example, Gujarat, we mentioned the over reliance on the top order, right? So any point in time, a team could have a bad run where it's two, three losses in a row, and then when that happens, the table reshuffles, and then you have pressure from Mumbai and Lucknow to add to the mix. It could be very, very exciting the next few weeks.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. Do you see any changes to the top four happening? Do you see it being the same way it is? Do you see your top four changing?
I think my top four, unfortunately, is going to be out of the equation because I don't see SRH nor Chennai coming in the top four. But if I were to predict one change, and this is going to be a bold call for me, I'm saying Gujarat is not going to be in the top four. I'm saying Mumbai is going to come instead of Gujarat. That's my call. I
Oh,
think
that's a big call.
that's my call. That's my call.
That's a big call because they are looking like a unit, but I can see I can see that I can see that being justified because if I think about it, they are very reliant on their top three, as we've discussed. So if teams are able to make inroads in their top three, they may have a chance. So
Yeah.
I can see that happening. I can see that happening. I think I'm going to stick with the four that I got. I want to say that we may see a surprise from the bottoms coming up the top. I think we might see a surprise. Like
Any
we
names?
always get we always get that one team that turns to that.
That's true.
I think Rajasthan Royals, they've come so close because we
Okay.
talked about how they've had close games. They could easily be 4
They
for four
could.
right now,
They
right?
could
They could be
easily.
sitting in the middle of the pack, but they lost two games they should have won, and they find themselves at the bottom. But that means that they're still playing good enough cricket to be close to winning,
Yeah.
which you can't really say for SRH or CSK right now because
I
when
agree.
they're losing. Like there's
Yep.
not even
Yep.
a chance of them coming close, right? So yeah, I could see RR turning the tide somehow and maybe making a run at that last playoff spot if you have a number of teams, finishing at
Yeah.
the same points. So that's my bold prediction.
Nah, love it. Love it. Both of us with bold predictions. I love it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's a good place to wrap it up for the mid-season recap, and we'll see you when we see you next. That's stuff. I didn't